Cheating wife wanted open marriage. I replaced her. Hey, true story. Maybe my story will help some other man out there who finds himself in the same position I was in. I first met my ex-wife after my niece's piano recital. My sister invited the whole family out, and since I'm a supportive uncle, of course I showed up. It was a small recital held at a local community center, maybe 40 or 50 people in the audience. My niece did her little routine, and afterward, everyone was milling around in the lobby area, congratulating their kids. That's when I met her. She wasn't a parent. She was actually there supporting her goddaughter, who was one of my niece's classmates. I remember she was dressed in this simple but elegant navy dress, nothing flashy, but she carried herself with this kind of confidence that stood out. We started talking casually. She congratulated my niece, I congratulated her goddaughter, and from there it turned into small talk about music, about family, about life. She seemed sweet, down to earth, and easy to talk to. A week later, my sister invited her over for a little family cookout. She came with her cousin, and once again, we talked. This time, we talked longer, and before I knew it, we had exchanged numbers. Things went fast after that. Within a few months, we were seeing each other regularly, and not long after, we were official. At the time, she seemed like everything I wanted. She was funny, caring, and supportive. We both had careers. We weren't kids playing around. We were in our late 20s, and we were looking for something real. Within 2 years, I proposed, and she said yes. The wedding was beautiful, family and friends all there, and I thought I was starting the kind of life I'd always dreamed of. 5 years of marriage lay ahead, and I thought those 5 years were building toward a lifetime. Turns out, I was wrong. For the first few years, things were good. We traveled, we spent weekends with friends, we went to concerts, the whole deal. But around year 4, I noticed something change. She started spending more time on her phone. She'd step out of the room to text, or she'd tilt the screen away if I walked by. At first, I brushed it off. Then, she started working late more often, hanging out with friends I never met, and little things just started to add up. One night I confronted her. I said, "Look, I feel like you're pulling away from me. What's going on?" And instead of admitting to anything, she dropped a bomb on me. She said she wanted to try an open marriage. I laughed at first. I thought she was joking, but she was dead serious. She said she still loved me, but she wanted excitement. She wanted to explore, and she thought this was the best way for us to keep our marriage intact while also giving her what she thought she needed. Now, I'll be real with you, true story. I wasn't excited about the idea. It felt like she was basically telling me she wanted to cheat, but with my permission. But after a few weeks of back and forth, I thought, well, this was her idea. If this is what she thinks she needs, then why not? Before we agreed to it, I laid down one truth bomb of my own. I told her, if we do this, you need to understand something. There's a very real possibility that one of us might meet someone we actually like. One of us might catch feelings, and if that happens, there's no going back. She waved me off. She actually laughed and said, "No, that won't happen. Just go have fun." Those words would come back to haunt her. It didn't take long for me to meet someone. It happened in the most unexpected way. I play baseball in a local rec league with some friends. It's not anything serious, just a bunch of guys getting together to have fun and stay active. One day, after a game at the park, I noticed this woman sitting on a bench watching us play. She had her dog with her, and she looked like she was enjoying the game. Afterward, I went over to pet her dog, and we started talking. Her name was Anna. She told me she lived nearby and liked to bring her dog to the park to watch the games sometimes. I told her about our team, and she asked questions, genuinely curious about me. It wasn't forced, it was easy. She had this big smile, and the way she laughed made me feel at ease. Over the next few weeks, she kept showing up. She'd bring snacks for the team, sometimes even water bottles. Everyone on the team noticed her, and they started nudging me like, Bro, she's into you. What are you waiting for? They all knew about my situation because I had told them my wife and I were in an open marriage. They basically encouraged me to take the shot. So I did. I asked her if she wanted to grab a coffee after one of our games. She said yes. That one coffee turned into dinner, which turned into hanging out more and more. Before I knew it, I was spending nearly every day with her, after work, on weekends, whenever I had free time. And here's the thing, true story. Being with her felt like breathing fresh air after being stuck in a stuffy room for years. She asked about my day, she cared about the little things, she laughed at my dumb jokes, and most importantly, she respected me. I didn't realize how starved I was for that kind of attention until I started getting it again. Meanwhile, things at home were deteriorating. My wife didn't like the fact that I was out so much. She'd make comments like, "You're never around anymore," or "Why don't you spend time with me?" The irony of it all killed me. She was the one who wanted the open marriage. She was the one who told me to just go have fun. Now that I was actually doing it, she couldn't handle it. One night she broke down crying. She said, "Please don't replace me like this." And I just stared at her. I reminded her, "This was your idea. You're the one who opened this door. I told you this could happen." She begged me to stay, begged me to go to counseling, begged me to make it work. But by then, I was already gone emotionally. I didn't love her anymore. I was just done. So I made the hardest decision, but also the most freeing one. I filed for divorce. She didn't take it well. She fought me on it. She tried to drag me to therapy. She even had her family call me to try and talk me out of it. But I was resolute. After months of paperwork, arguments, and emotional breakdowns, the divorce was finalized. That was 3 years ago. And let me tell you something. True story. Those 3 years have been the happiest of my life. I've been with Anna ever since, and it's been nothing short of amazing. We're not married and we don't plan to be. We both have our own places, our own space, and our own independence. But we spend a ton of time together. We travel, we support each other, and most importantly, we're happy. Meanwhile, my ex hasn't stopped trying to get me back. She sends texts, emails, even shows up at places she knows I'll be. She's tried the whole, "I've changed, I made a mistake, we can work it out" routine. But every time I shut it down. I tell her, "You made your bed, now you have to lie in it." She wanted an open marriage. She thought she could play the field while keeping me on the back burner. But life doesn't work like that. She gambled and she lost. I guess the lesson here is this. Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. She thought she could have her cake and eat it too, but when the roles reversed, she couldn't handle it. As for me, I'm good. I'm better than good. I'm happy. I'm healthy. And I'm in a relationship that actually fulfills me. I'll never go back to my ex, and I'll never make the mistake of putting someone else's selfish desires ahead of my own happiness again. What life has been like since my divorce was finalized, and how things have gone with the woman I replaced my ex with. Let me just say right off the bat, choosing divorce was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but also the most rewarding decision of my life. It's been 3 years since everything ended, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I never imagined happiness would look like this, but it does. The day after the divorce. I still remember the day the divorce papers came through. It was a hot summer afternoon, and I was sitting in my car outside the courthouse with my copy of the paperwork in my hands. My ex had cried in the courtroom, begged me to reconsider, even as the judge finalized everything. I didn't say much. At that point, there was nothing left to say. When I got back to my car, I just sat there for about 20 minutes. No music, no phone, nothing. Just silence. It felt like this huge weight had finally been lifted off my chest. 5 years of marriage, months of fighting, and a roller coaster of emotions. All done. I remember thinking to myself, this is it, Tony. You're free. I went straight to Anna's place that evening. She opened the door, saw the envelope in my hand, and before I could even say anything, she hugged me. Not a pity hug, not an I told you so hug, but one of those deep, grounding hugs that lets you know you're safe. That was the moment I knew I had made the right choice, not just leaving my ex, but choosing to build something new with Anna. Building with Anna? Let me tell you about Anna. She is nothing like my ex-wife, and I mean that in the best way possible. Where my ex was secretive and selfish, Anna is open and generous. Where my ex thrived on drama, Anna thrives on peace. Where my ex saw relationships as a constant battle for control, Anna sees them as a partnership. After the divorce, I didn't jump straight into boyfriend, girlfriend labels. Anna and I took our time. We went on more trips together, spent weekends exploring new places, and started learning each other's rhythms. She gave me space when I needed it, but she was also there for me whenever I wanted company. One of the first big things we did together was take a road trip down the East Coast. Just the two of us, her dog in the back seat, driving with no real plan other than stopping wherever looked interesting. We hit little beach towns, stayed in cheap motels, ate way too much seafood, and laughed the whole way. That trip bonded us in a way I didn't expect. It wasn't about grand gestures or luxury. It was about simple joy. Something I hadn't felt in years with my ex. Why we'll never get married. Now I know some people are going to hear this and think it's strange, but Anna and I have both agreed that we're never going to get married. And let me be clear, it's not because we don't love each other. It's the opposite. We love each other enough to respect what works best for us. I've already been married once, and so has she. We both know what that legal piece of paper can do when things fall apart. We know how quickly forever can turn into lawyers, courtrooms, and bitterness. Neither of us want to go through that again. Instead, we've carved out our own arrangement. We both have our own places. I've got my house, she's got hers. We spend a lot of time together, but we also maintain our independence. If she wants a weekend to herself, no problem. If I want to go hang with my buddies or travel solo, no problem. There's no sense of ownership, no power struggle. Just two people who love each other and choose each other every single day without the weight of obligation. Some folks might not understand that. They might think marriage is the only way to prove love. But let me tell you something. I've been in both situations. Love without a contract feels freer, more authentic, and way more sustainable for me. The contrast with my ex. I'd be lying if I said my ex has disappeared from the picture. She hasn't. Over the past 3 years, she has tried everything under the sun to worm her way back into my life. She's sent long apology emails, handwritten letters, late night texts saying she misses me. She's even shown up to my baseball games, pretending it's just to watch. At first, I ignored it. Then I started blocking her on everything, but she always found some new way to pop up. I've told her directly, this is done. You made your decision. I've moved on. But she doesn't let it go. She says things like, Tony, we had 5 years together. We can't just throw that away. Or, please don't let her replace me. And every time she says something like that, I'm reminded of how blind she was to her own choices. She's the one who pushed for an open marriage. She's the one who didn't think I'd ever find someone better. She's the one who underestimated me. Now she lives with regret while I live with peace. How Anna and I work together. Let me give you some insight into why Anna and I work so well. Communication. With my ex, conversations were often battles. With Anna, we talk about everything. Fears, dreams, even dumb stuff like what TV shows to watch. She doesn't make me feel judged or stupid. Respect. She doesn't try to control me and I don't try to control her. If I'm out with friends, she's cool with it. If she wants to take a trip with her sister, I encourage it. We trust each other. Support. Last year, I went through a rough patch at work. I was stressed, snapping at people, even doubting myself. Anna didn't add pressure. She cooked for me, listened, and reminded me that I was capable. That kind of support is priceless. Fun. This woman is fun. She's silly. She dances around the kitchen. She loves trying new foods, and she makes life light. After years of walking on eggshells with my ex, that lightness means the world. 3 years of happiness. Since my divorce, life has been good. No, great. Anna and I have been to 6 different states together, taken her dog hiking in the mountains, gone to countless concerts, and even started volunteering at a local animal shelter on weekends. I've also grown as a man. I'm healthier both physically and mentally. I work out regularly, I eat better, I sleep better, I have energy again. My friends tell me I seem happier, more present, and I know it's true. Do I regret the 5 years I spent married to my ex? No, because it taught me exactly what I don't want. It showed me how destructive selfishness can be in a marriage. It showed me how easy it is to lose yourself when you're trying to keep someone else happy. And it showed me that sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away. The future. As for the future, Anna and I don't have some rigid plan. We're not worried about wedding dates or mortgage loans or starting a family. We're focused on living well, traveling, making memories, and enjoying each other's company. The beauty of it is that every day we're together is a choice, not an obligation, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. True story, if there's one message I want men out there to take from my experience, it's this. Don't let fear keep you in a bad situation. Don't let someone else dictate your worth. If your partner doesn't respect you, doesn't value you, or tries to manipulate you into accepting less than you deserve, walk away. There is life and love after divorce. And sometimes that life is better than anything you could have imagined. I'll never marry again, and I'm fine with that. I don't need a ring or a piece of paper to validate what I have with Anna. All I need is the peace I feel when I'm with her, the joy she brings to my life, and the freedom to live on my own terms. If I can, I want to give some advice to young men who might be watching your channel and may be facing similar crossroads in life. The calm before the storm. For the most part, after the divorce, my ex kept trying to get in contact with me in the usual ways. Texts, emails, showing up at my games. It was annoying, but I could handle it. She would send these long, dramatic messages about how she made a mistake, how she never thought I'd actually move on, how she believed we could fix things if I would just give her one more chance. At first, I ignored her, then I blocked her, but she'd always find a way around it. New numbers, new email addresses. One time, she even made a fake social media account just to message me. It was pathetic, but nothing prepared me for the stunt she pulled about 1.5 years after the divorce was finalized. The day she showed up. It was a Saturday afternoon. Anna and I had gone grocery shopping in the morning and were planning a lazy day together. We were at her place, cooking lunch, music playing in the background. Out of nowhere, I heard loud banging on the front door. Not just a knock, pounding. Anna looked at me with wide eyes and said, "Who the hell is that?" When I opened the door, there she was, my ex. She looked disheveled, like she hadn't slept. Hair a mess, makeup smeared, tears already in her eyes. She pushed past me into the apartment before I could even say a word. Anna stepped back, shocked, and I stood there frozen for a second. "Tony," my ex started, her voice shaking. Please, I can't do this anymore. I can't live without you." I immediately told her, "You need to leave. You're not supposed to be here." But she wasn't listening. She started pacing around the living room, crying louder and louder. The stunt. At one point, she pulled something out of her purse, a bottle of pills. She held them in her hand and said, "If you don't take me back right now, I swear I'll do it. I'll swallow every single one of these. Right here." My stomach dropped. For a second, I thought she was bluffing, but the way she looked, the desperation in her eyes, I realized she was serious. Anna gasped and immediately reached for her phone to call 911. I put my hands up and tried to stay calm. Listen, you don't want to do this. This isn't the answer. Put the pills down and let's talk. She shook her head violently. You replaced me, Tony. You said you loved me once. How can you just throw me away? How can you just give her everything that was supposed to be mine? It was surreal. Here was the same woman who begged for an open marriage, who laughed when I warned her I might fall for someone else, who dismissed my feelings as if they were nothing, now standing in my girlfriend's living room threatening to hurt herself if I didn't undo the choice she made. Anna, bless her heart, stayed calm and on the phone with the dispatcher. She gave them our address and explained what was happening. Meanwhile, I just kept talking, trying to de-escalate the situation until help arrived. After what felt like an eternity, the police and EMTs showed up. They took the pills from her and convinced her to go with them to the hospital. The whole scene left me shaking. After they left, Anna and I sat in silence for a long time. I was angry, not just at my ex, but at the situation. Angry that she would try to manipulate me like that. Angry that she dragged Anna into this chaos, and angry at myself for ever letting this woman into my life in the first place. That stunt changed everything. Before, I thought my ex was just desperate and annoying. But after that, I realized she was unstable and potentially dangerous. I went to court the following week and filed for a restraining order. It was granted. Since then, the contact has been minimal, though she still tries every once in a while. But that day was a wake-up call for me. It showed me just how far someone can spiral when they can't accept the consequences of their own choices. And it reminded me that my peace, my safety, and Anna's safety had to come first. My advice to young men. Now I want to shift gears a bit and speak directly to the young men who watch your channel, because I know there are guys out there who might be in relationships with women who don't respect them, who try to manipulate them, or who dangle ultimatums like open marriages or hall passes. Here's what I've learned. Listen to actions, not words. My ex told me this won't change anything when she asked for an open marriage, but her actions showed otherwise. She wanted her cake and to eat it too, and when it backfired, she couldn't handle it. Set boundaries early. If something doesn't sit right with you, say it. Don't let someone push you into situations that go against your values just because you're afraid of losing them. If they really love and respect you, they won't put you in that position in the first place. Be prepared to walk away. This is the hardest part, but it's also the most important. Walking away from my marriage was painful, but it gave me my life back. Staying would have destroyed me. Don't be afraid to choose yourself. Take care of your mental health. Watching my ex break down like that was traumatic. I ended up going to therapy for a few months just to process it all. And let me tell you, there's no shame in that. Taking care of your mind is just as important as taking care of your body. Love is a choice, not an obligation. With Anna, every day we're together is because we want to be, not because we're legally bound. That makes it stronger. Don't chase the fairy tale someone else sells you. Build the reality that actually works for you. Gratitude for True Story. Before I wrap this up, I want to thank you, True Story. Your channel has been a lifeline for me. When I was going through my divorce, I stumbled across your videos, and for the first time, I realized I wasn't alone. There were other men out there going through the same pain, the same betrayal, the same confusion. Hearing their stories gave me strength. You've created a community where men can be honest, where they can share without shame, and where they can learn from each other's mistakes and triumphs. I can't tell you how much that matters. So thank you. Thank you for giving men like me a platform. Thank you for speaking the truth, even when it's hard. And thank you for reminding us that no matter how bad it gets, there's always a way forward. Final words. To the young men listening, Don't waste your best years on someone who doesn't value you. Don't compromise your self respect for the sake of keeping someone who's already halfway out the door. And don't ever believe that you're unworthy of real love, respect, and peace. I've lived it, I've lost it, and I've found it again. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, the peace you get from walking away from toxicity is worth every ounce of pain it takes to get there. One last thing before I go. I also got a letter from my former mother-in-law and father-in-law, and in that letter, they did something I never thought they'd do. They apologized to me. Backstory with my ex's parents. Before I tell you what the letter said, let me give you some background. When I first married my ex, her parents and I got along fine. They weren't overbearing, but they were definitely protective of their daughter. I respected that. I thought, fair enough, I'd want someone to protect my niece the same way. But as the marriage went on and things started falling apart, the relationship between me and her parents soured. See, my ex was always the kind of person who played the victim. When she didn't get her way, she spun stories that made her look innocent and everyone else look like the bad guy, and that's exactly what she did with me. By the time I filed for divorce, her parents wanted nothing to do with me. They believed I had abandoned their daughter, that I had chosen another woman over my wife, and that I was selfish for giving up on the marriage. They never asked for my side. They never questioned her version. They just assumed their daughter was telling the truth. That hurt, I won't lie, because I had been nothing but respectful to them. I went to their house for holidays. I helped them around the yard. I treated them like family. To see them turn cold on me so quickly, it stung. But I also knew it wasn't worth fighting. They were her parents. Of course they'd believe her. So I walked away. I left that whole family in the past and focused on rebuilding my life. The letter. Fast forward to just a few months ago. Out of nowhere, I get a letter in the mail. The handwriting on the envelope looked familiar, but I couldn't place it at first. When I opened it and saw who it was from, my jaw dropped. It was from my ex's parents. The letter was long, several pages. They started by saying they knew it might surprise me to hear from them, but they felt it was necessary. Then came the part that floored me. They apologized. They said they had always believed their daughter's version of the story, that I was cold, that I stopped loving her, that I abandoned her for another woman. They admitted they had judged me harshly, cut me off, and even spoken badly about me to extended family and friends. But then they explained why they were writing now. Apparently, my ex had finally broken down and confessed the truth. She told them about asking for an open marriage. She told them about dismissing my warnings. She told them about how she laughed it off when I said one of us could fall for someone else. She even admitted to them that I had been right all along and that she was the one who destroyed the marriage. When I read those words, I had to put the letter down and just sit there in silence. It was surreal. For years, I had been painted as the villain in their eyes, and now they were telling me they knew the truth. They said they were sorry for how they treated me. They said they respected me for the way I handled myself during and after the divorce. They even said they were grateful I had at least given their daughter 5 years of stability before she self-sabotaged everything. My reaction. I won't lie to you, true story. I felt a mix of emotions reading that letter. Part of me felt vindicated. It was like, finally someone from her side admitted the truth. Finally, someone acknowledged that I wasn't the bad guy. Finally, someone validated what I had been saying all along. But another part of me felt sad. Sad because it took this long. Sad because their apology came years too late. Sad because even though they saw the truth now, none of it changed what happened. The marriage was still over. The damage was still done. I showed the letter to Anna, and she just nodded and said, "It's about time." She could see how much it meant to me, though. Not because I needed their approval, but because it closed a chapter I didn't even realize was still open. What this taught me. Getting that letter reminded me of something important. People will always believe the version of the story that benefits them. My ex spun a story that made her look like a victim, and her parents believed it because it was easier than facing the truth about their daughter's flaws. But the truth has a way of coming out eventually. It might take months, it might take years, but lies don't hold up forever. Eventually, reality forces its way to the surface. My advice to men. So here's the advice I want to give young men out there based on this experience. Don't chase validation. If people choose to believe lies about you, let them. Don't waste your energy trying to prove yourself. Live your life and let time reveal the truth. Focus on your peace. When I walked away from that family, I thought I was losing something. In reality, I was gaining peace. Don't stay tied to toxic people just because you want them to see your side. Trust the process. The truth might not come out right away, but it does come out. And when it does, you'll be glad you didn't waste your life trying to force it. Forgive, but don't re-engage. I appreciate the apology, but that doesn't mean I'm running back into their lives. I forgave them, but I've moved on. My loyalty now is to myself and to Anna, not to people from my past. Gratitude, again. True story, once again, I want to thank you for your channel. I can't tell you how much it means to have a place where men can share stories like this without judgment. I know there are men out there right now dealing with in-laws who hate them, with lies being spread about them, with reputations being destroyed. And I want those men to know the truth has a way of surfacing. You don't need to beg for it. You just need to keep living your life. So thank you for being that voice, for giving men like me a platform, and for showing us we're not alone. When I finished reading that letter, I realized something. I don't need my ex's family's approval. I don't need their apology to validate me, but it did give me closure. It reminded me that no matter how many lies were told about me, the truth was strong enough to stand on its own. And for any man listening right now, I'll say this. If you're being lied about, slandered, painted as the villain, don't panic. Don't waste your energy trying to convince everyone. Just live your truth. The lies will crumble on their own.